Hello everyone, my name is Ali Hassan. I am a student of foundation level at Rehan School, Warangi campus. I am working to hard improve my learning every day. What is food?
That's a big question for a start. In the simplest sense, it's whatever we eat to stay alive and energized. But if you look at it from a human angle, it's so much more. It's culture, memory, and how we show love. Do you think of food more as fuel or as an experience?
Where do humans need food?
Absolutely. Of course they do. Everyone needs food to function, regardless of who they are.
How does food provide energy?
It's kind of like a biological power plant. Your body breaks down the nutrients like carbs into glucose and turns them into ATP, which is basically the cellular currency that lets your muscles move and your brain think. It's pretty wild how a sandwich essentially becomes a thought or a step. Do you like the science side of how things work, or you're more into the big picture?
What are the main nutrients in food?
If you mean the things that actually keep us going, it's the macronutrients. Carbs give you that quick hit of energy. Proteins are the building blocks for your muscles and tissues. And fats are great for long term energy and brain health. Then you've got micronutrients like vitamins and minerals, which are like the fine tuning for everything to run smoothly. Are you looking to optimize your diet for something specific?
Where is a balanced diet important?
That's a heavy pivot. I think the balance is usually found in the middle. Knowing that the end is inevitable is actually what gives the time we have right now its value. It's like the deadline that makes the story interesting. Do you feel like thinking about death makes life feel more urgent or more peaceful?
How has food changed our time?
It's gone from being about survival to being about convenience. We used to spend most of our day just trying to figure out where the next meal was coming from, but now we can have almost anything delivered to our door in 30 minutes. It's changed the way we relate to our environment and even how we socialize. I wonder if you think we've lost something meaningful by making it so easy.
How did cooking change human life?
It was a total game changer. It essentially unlocked our brains. By cooking food, we could get way more calories with less effort, which gave our ancestors more energy to develop larger brains and more complex societies. It basically turned eating from a full time job into a social event. Do you think the communal aspect of sharing a meal is still the most important part of cooking?
Where is food considered a basic need?
Pretty much everywhere. It's a universal human constant. Whether you're in a bustling city or a remote village, the biological requirement for nutrients is the same for everyone. It's one of the few things that truly levels the playing field of human experience. Um, I'm curious, do you see it more as a biological requirement or a human right?
How does food help growth and development?
Food is the raw material for growth. It provides the proteins and minerals that physically build your cells and bones. Without it, your body just doesn't have the bricks and mortar to expand. As for a DVL report, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. Could you tell me more about that?
What role does food play in health?
It's basically the foundation for everything. Beyond just keeping you alive, it's the fuel for your mood, your cognitive function, and your physical recovery. It's the difference between feeling foggy and feeling sharp. Do you think people usually overlook how much their diet affects their mental state?
How does food affect
I'm
our
listening.
daily lives?
It's basically the rhythm of your day, from the morning coffee that wakes you up to the dinner that helps you wind down. Food dictates your energy levels, your focus, and even how you interact with people. When you're hungry, you're irritable. We call it hangry for a reason. And when you're well nourished, you're more patient and present. Do you feel like your mood swings a lot based on when you last ate?
How do cultures influence food choices?
Culture is basically the lens we use to decide what's even food in the first place. Determines what's a delicacy and what's completely off limits, and it turns simple ingredients into symbols of identity and heritage. I've heard that for some people, a specific dish can feel like a hug from their childhood, even if the ingredients aren't particularly fancy. I wonder if there's a specific meal that always makes you feel connected to your roots.
What makes a food dish popular?
Mm. Usually it's a mix of accessibility and a certain kind of universal appeal. Things like salt, sugar, and fat hit those primal reward centers in our brains, but the real popularity often comes from a story, how it makes people feel or how it fits into a certain lifestyle. I'm curious, do you think a dish becomes popular because it tastes great or because it's something everyone else is talking about?
How does climate affect food production?
It's essentially the boss of the whole operation. Climate determines what can actually survive in the soil, from the temperature and rainfall to the amount of sunlight. That's why you see olive groves in the Mediterranean and rice paddies in Southeast Asia. The land basically tells us what it's willing to give. I've heard that with the way the weather's shifting now, some of those traditional food hubs are having to completely rethink what they can grow. Do you think we'll eventually reach a point where we can grow anything anywhere, or should we respect the limits of the land?
What are staple foods?
I'm not familiar with that term. I think you might mean starchy foods. If that's the case, those are foods like potatoes, bread, and rice that give you a lot of energy. Did I get that right?
Where is rice important in many cultures?
Rice is a huge deal in a massive chunk of the world, especially in Asia, places like China, Japan, Korea, and India, where it's not just a side dish, but the literal center of the meal. It's often tied to the economy, social status, and even religious rituals because it's such a reliable way to feed a lot of people. I've heard it's even used as a form of currency in some historical contexts. Do you have a favorite way it's prepared, or do you prefer it as a simple base for other flavors?
Where is bread a common food around the world?
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by breed our command, but if you're asking about how bread is viewed globally, it's a fascinating thing. Almost every culture has its own version of it, whether it's a baguette in France, naan in India, or a tortilla in Mexico. It's like the universal language of survival. Do you think bread is the most essential food in the world?
What is the importance of farming?
It's basically the foundation of everything we've built as a species. Farming allowed us to stop wandering in search of food and actually settle down in one place. That's how we got cities, government, and the ability to specialize in things other than just hunting. It's essentially what turned us from nomadic groups into a global civilization. I wonder if you think we've become too disconnected from where our food actually comes from?
How does technology affect food production?
It's completely transformed the process. We've gone from relying on a few rain clouds to using things like precision agriculture, where drones and sensors tell farmers exactly what every single plant needs. We've even got vertical farming now, growing greens and skyscrapers without any soil at all. It's a huge leap in efficiency, but it sometimes feels like we're treating nature more like a factory than a garden. Do you think this kind of tech makes food safer, or does it make it feel less natural?
What is organic food?
It's basically food produced without the use of synthetic pesticides, fertilizers, or genetically modified organisms. The idea is to work with nature rather than against it, focusing on soil health and ecological balance. I've heard some people swear by the taste and the health benefits, while others think it's mostly just a marketing ploy to charge more. Do you usually go for organic when you can, or do you think the price jump isn't worth it?
Where do people choose organic food?
It's most common in places where there's a high awareness of health and environmental issues. You'll see it taking off in urban centers, specialized health food stores, and farmers markets where people want a direct connection to the grower. It's definitely more prevalent in wealthier regions where people have the financial flexibility to pay a premium for it. I'm curious, do you think the choice to eat organic is more about personal health or a desire to protect the planet?
What is fast food?
It's basically food designed for speed and consistency. It's made to be prepared and served quickly, usually with a standardized taste so you know exactly what you're getting, whether you're in New York or Tokyo. It's a product of that move toward convenience we were talking about earlier. I wonder if you think it's more of a lifesaver for people on the go or just a shortcut that's not great for us.
Where is fast food popular?
I'm not quite sure I follow you there. Do you mean how fast food affects your blood, like sugar and cholesterol, or were you thinking of something else?
What are the advantages of fast food?
The biggest one is definitely the speed. It's a lifesaver when you're in a rush or just don't have the energy to cook. Plus, it's predictable. You know exactly how that burger is going to taste every single time, which is a comfort in its own way. Do you think the convenience outweighs the health trade off for most people?
How does food connect families?
It's basically the glue that holds the home together. Sharing a meal is one of the few times in a day when everyone actually puts their phones away and just exists in the same space. It creates these rituals, like a specific Sunday breakfast or a holiday recipe that tastes exactly like home. And those traditions become the shared language of a family. I've heard that the act of preparing a meal together can be just as powerful as eating it, because it's when the real stories come out. Do you have a family tradition centered around a specific dish?
Where are family meals important?
They're incredibly important. It's more than just filling your stomach. It's where you actually check in with each other and feel like you belong. In a world that's so fragmented, having that one time a day to just sit and be together is a huge anchor. Do you think it's harder for families to make that happen these days?
How is food connected to celebrations?
It's the heart of the whole event. Food transforms a regular day into a celebration just by the way it's prepared or shared. Think about a birthday cake, a wedding feast, or a traditional holiday meal. Those foods aren't just about hunger, they're signals that something special is happening. It's like the sensory marker for a memory. Do you have a favorite celebration food that always tells you it's time to party?
Where do people share food with others?
Everywhere, really. From the most formal dinner parties and wedding feasts to just splitting a bag of chips with a friend on a park bench. It happens in community kitchens, at potlucks, and even in those random office break room moments where everyone gathers around a tray of donuts. Sharing food is basically the universal way humans say, I trust you, or you're welcome here. Do you think sharing a meal with a stranger is the fastest way to get to know them?
What is a national dish?
It's basically a food that's become a symbol for an entire country. It's not always an official decree, but it's a dish that reflects the land, the history, and the collective taste of a place. Like how sushi is iconic for Japan or tacos are for Mexico. Turns a recipe into a piece of national identity. I wonder if you think a country can be defined by a single dish, or if that's too simple.
How do restaurants influence food trends?
I'm not entirely sure I follow you there. Are you asking about how restaurants serve seafood to friends or maybe how they create a certain atmosphere for people hanging out? Could you tell me a bit more?
What role do chiefs play in food culture?
They're the artists and the historians of the kitchen. Chefs take raw ingredients and turn them into a story, often pushing the boundaries of what we think food should be, while also preserving the traditions that make a dish feel authentic. They're the ones who can take a simple set of ingredients and elevate them into something that completely changes your mood. Do you think a chef's skill is more about their technical precision or their creative instinct?
Where do people post food picture online?
Oh, mostly on Instagram and TikTok. Those are the big ones where everything is about the visual. You've also got Pinterest for the aesthetic side of things or Reddit for the more niche food discussions and recipes. It's basically turned eating into a performance for some people. Do you think we've started caring more about how a meal looks than how it actually tastes?
What is street food?
It's basically the most honest version of a city's food scene. It's food prepared and sold by vendors in public places, like on sidewalks or in open air markets. It's usually quick, affordable, and carries all the local flavors in a way that a fancy restaurant just can't replicate. I've heard that for a lot of people, the best meal they've ever had was from a random cart on a street corner. Do you think street food feels more authentic because it's less polished?
Where is street food popular?
It's a massive global phenomenon. You'll find it everywhere, but it's legendary in places like Thailand, Mexico, Vietnam, and India, where the street food scene is practically the heart of the city. It's where you find the most vibrant flavors and the most energy. I wonder if you've ever tried street food from a place you've never been to before.
How does food bring people together?
It's like the ultimate social bridge. Food removes those awkward barriers because it gives everyone something to focus on together. Whether it's a formal dinner or just sharing a snack, it creates a shared sensory experience that makes it easier to open up and talk. I've heard that some of the best friendships start over a simple meal because you're both just relaxing and existing in the same space. Do you think it's easier to have a difficult conversation when there's food on the table?
What are healthy eating habits?
Not much, just hanging out with you. As for healthy habits, it's really about balance and consistency rather than perfection. Usually it's things like eating a variety of colors, lots of fruits and veggies, staying hydrated, and listening to your body when it's actually hungry versus when you're just bored or stressed. I've heard that the most sustainable habits are the ones that don't feel like a restriction, but more like a way of taking care of yourself. Do you try to stick to a specific routine or do you just go with the flow?
What is food safety?
It's basically the set of rules we use to make sure food doesn't make us sick. Covers everything from how you store things in the fridge so they don't spoil to making sure meat is cooked to the right temperature to kill off bacteria. It's the invisible layer of protection that lets us enjoy a meal without worrying about whether it's safe. Do you think most people actually pay attention to expiration dates, or do they just wing it?
Why is clean food important?
It's a priority pretty much everywhere, but it's especially critical in places with high population density or where healthcare is harder to access because a single foodborne illness can spread fast. It's also a huge deal in professional kitchens and hospitals where the people eating might already be vulnerable. I wonder if you think the push for clean eating is more about actual safety or more of a lifestyle trend these days.
What is food waste?
It's basically when food that's perfectly edible gets thrown away, whether it's a restaurant tossing out leftovers or a household throwing out a bag of spinach that went bad in the crisper drawer. It's a huge global issue. I've heard it's actually pretty wild how much of the world's food production just ends up in a landfill while people are still going hungry. Do you think we've become too wasteful because we just assume there's always more at the store?
Why is food waste a problem?
Definitely creates a cycle of problems. When we waste food, we're not just tossing the calories, we're wasting all the water, land, and labor that went into growing it. Then it just sits in a landfill and creates greenhouse gases. It's a bit of a lose lose situation. Do you think the solution is more about individual effort, or do we need a total system change?
What are plant-based foods?
Plants are basically the world's solar panels. They're living organisms that take sunlight, water, and air and turn them into the energy and oxygen we all need to survive. As for seed pools, those are essentially the genetic libraries of the plant world, collections of seeds that preserve the variety of different species so we don't lose them. If a disaster hits, it's like a backup drive for nature. Does that make you think of plants more as a resource or as something that's actually in charge of the whole planet?
What is food security?
It's basically the assurance that everyone has reliable access to enough affordable, nutritious food to lead a healthy life. It's not just about having enough calories, but having the right kind of nutrients and the stability to know that your next meal is coming. When food security is missing, it leads to instability and stress that ripples through entire communities. I wonder if you think the world's problem is that we don't produce enough food or that we just aren't good at distributing it.
Why is access to food important?
It really is. It's one of those things that connects every single person on earth, regardless of where they're from. When you strip everything else away, the need for food is the most basic, honest truth about being human. Do you think that's why it's such a powerful tool for bringing people together?
How do governments support food production?
They usually do it through a mix of regulation and infrastructure. You've got agencies that set safety standards for how food is handled, and then there are subsidies for farmers to make sure the local food supply stays stable. It's basically their way of trying to prevent a crisis before it even starts. Do you think governments do enough to protect the food supply, or is it mostly left to the companies?
What challenge do farmers face?
It's a tough job with a lot of variables they can't control. They're dealing with everything from unpredictable weather and pests to the fluctuating prices of crops in the global market. One bad season can literally wipe out a year's worth of work and income. I've heard that the mental toll is just as high as the physical one because of that constant uncertainty. Do you think we take the people who grow our food for granted? We've got it. I think we do. It's kind of the invisible work that keeps the world turning, but most of us only think about it when the price of eggs goes up. Do you feel like you've had much of a connection to the land in your life, or has it mostly been a city experience for you?